Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima. Book 2. Water. Chapter 9. A Deluge of Darkness. The possessed villagers moved at an impossible speed. Jack Thunder managed to generate a lightning blast before they could reach the team, tossing them back like rag dolls. Undeterred, they got back up and began running at him again. The team fought valiantly, but after a few lightning blasts from Stormbringer, Jack Thunder's magic faltered. He didn't have the strength to keep this up, especially with his busted shoulder and no magic poisoning. He groaned internally. I've come all this way for nothing. That's when he saw something. The Seastone. It was glowing. Its sapphire aura was unmistakable in this light. "Buckthorn!" he shouted to the reef siren. "I've got an idea. You need to activate the Seastone. It'll bring in the tides and wash away all the attackers." "What? But won't you get washed up too?" Buckthorn exclaimed. Jack Thunder had already almost drowned. Could she really risk that again? "Ugh, just do it! I can't hold them off much longer!" Well, if she didn't do it, who knew what the villagers would do to them? She clasped the Seastone and closed her eyes. She hummed a 3-note melody, one that was meant to activate magical artifacts. The Seastone's glow flashed from sapphire to white. That was when a massive tsunami crashed over the land, burying the jungle in a deluge of seawater. Jack Thunder had been prepared for this. He kicked his legs, quickly making his way up to the surface. Once he could breathe again, he focused on keeping his head above water. San held on to Frosty and Razor, making sure they weren't swept away. The latter seemed to be enjoying the fray, happily gliding through the new waters he found himself in. Buckthorn, being a reef siren, didn't need to make her way to the surface at all. She just needed to keep herself from being sucked into something sharp by the questing tide. Buckthorn noticed the Seastone was glowing again. This time, it was glowing a greenish teal. She sang the same 3-note melody backwards. The tide rushed out, leaving the team and the villagers scattered across the now drenched jungle. Jack Thunder came to his senses. He was back on solid ground. The villagers were dazed, but for how long? Suddenly he saw his chance. The gem in Stormbringer's center began to shimmer with all colors of the rainbow. He spun around, casting the healing spell on all villagers simultaneously. All at once, the villagers expelled the wendigos inhabiting their bodies. The wendigos snarled and began circling Jack Thunder and Buckthorn, encasing them in a null magic tornado. 1,000 claws emerged from the windstorm, trying to snatch Stormbringer out of the storm gremlin's hand. Jack Thunder got another idea. "Hey Buckthorn, I'm gonna need you to use that spell again." Buckthorn didn't argue. Once again the tide came rushing in. Jack Thunder fired his staff at the approaching wave. It halted in its tracks. The wave coursed with green electricity as he grasped it in Stormbringer's telekinetic hold and directed it straight at the wendigo whirlwind that surrounded them. As the wave crashed into it, the combined powers of water and air sent many wendigos tumbling to the ground, shrieking all the way. Only a fraction of the wendigos hit by the blast got back up to keep circling. "It's working!" Jack Thunder and Buckthorn thought simultaneously. Jack Thunder clumsily swung the levitated wave around like a baseball bat, repeatedly striking the tornado that surrounded them. Each time it hit, green lightning coursed through the whole whirlpool, sending more wendigos to the ground, not to get up again. When the wave got too small from splashing around so much, Buckthorn sang the title song once again to summon a new one. Slowly but surely, the storm was dissipating. Eventually, only 5 wendigos were left standing. Enraged, they switched strategies. They dove straight for the 2 troublesome fairies. But with a few more unwieldy zaps from Jack Thunder, and one more song from Buckthorn, they too were reduced to black puddles on the ground. The two huffed and puffed. They were exhausted, but they weren't done just yet. They could see writhing limbs emerging from the black puddles that dotted the landscape, only to collapse and splash back into them. Even in their depleted state, the monsters weren't going to give up just yet. It was time. Jack Thunder and Buckthorn held each other's hand. They gripped their Anima Fragments, and they began to recite the Wendigo banishing incantation. "Back to the flip side with you and your hate," Jack Thunder rebuked. Stormbringer and the Seastone lit up simultaneously. "You have no place in this land of dreams," Buckthorn continued the incantation. The glow of their fragments turned white. "We belong to Alterus. Alterus is ours." The glow became brighter than ever, shimmering with all colors of the rainbow. "Now be gone!" This time, instead of one solid beam of magic, the spell split into many smaller beams of undifferentiated anima. These beams of light slithered through the sky like serpents, seeking out each and every wendigo on the field. Otherworldly shrieks echoed through the rainforest. Jack Thunder and Buckthorn could see countless faces and claws form, writhe, and dissolve helplessly as each and every wendigo puddle was swept up and cleansed by the purifying magic. The beams rocketed towards the sky, straight up at the rift right above their heads. The two fairies felt a small burst of energy as the rift in the sky sealed. Jack Thunder stared up at the night sky for a long time. Behind him, he could hear the confused murmurs of no longer possessed islanders trying to get a sense of where they were. He didn't notice Emily was behind him until she placed her hand on his shoulder. "Hey Jack, you alright? You don't look so good." He responded with a long groan that ended in a strangled sob. He didn't understand. They had won the battle. The archipelago was free. So why was he crying? Now, when he could take a deep breath, he felt the full brunt of the day's stress. He fell to his knees and hugged the ground, shouting into the mud puddle he found himself lying in. He had been bottling up everything all day. He just needed to let it out. It helped him feel better at least. He began to relax after a few minutes. When he looked back up, Buckthorn, San, Razor, and Emily were all staring at him with worried looks. "Don't worry, I'm fine. This whole dang day. First the thing with getting attacked, then breaking my shoulder and nearly drowning, then the whole mess with Blackheart, then this." He took a deep breath. "I've had a long day," he finished before collapsing into the dirt once more. They couldn't disagree. Frosty picked him up, letting him rest on her shoulder. Before he knew it, he was fast asleep. Hi there, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like more from our friend Jack Thunder, you can check out my new book series, Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima, on Amazon using the link in the description. Or you can head on over to my Teespring and grab a few things from my shop. And please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content every week. Thank you for watching.